All right, so we can hear me. We can see the what is written on the wipe on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have today we are going to discuss what's the topic that I said we are going to discuss today. Who can remind me, please? Anybody? Anybody to remind us of the topic I said we want to discuss today? Anybody? Hey.
So I said the we are going to complete nutrition and continue with the characteristics of living things.
Is my network kind of disconnecting because we are not responding on time? Are we kind of having issues hearing me clearly?
No, sir.
Okay, so everything I'm saying is audible, clear to everyone, Abi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So let's get back to the presentation then. So here we wanted to discuss or the topic that was sent to us today earlier today. That was cells and the importance of nutrition in living organisms. So we have just a few slides, or few slides rather, to go through. So here on the first slide, you can see cells and nutrition, uh, the powerhouse of life. So here you can see every living organism is built from cells, and every cell depends on nutrition to thrive. So which means that you and I, we are made from cells. So these cells are the one responsible for every life activities that we perform. And every of these cells depends on what you're taking, that's nutrients, what you're taking for their survival. So the building blocks of life. So from a single bacterium to a blue whale, every living organism is made of cells, which is the simplest unit capable of carrying out all life processes. So it's a cell is universal for every living thing, as you can see here in this slide. That's universal, meaning that all living things, whether plants, whether animals, whether fungi, are all composed of what? Cells. And this cell is the functional unit. That is, each cell is able to perform specialized jobs. You understand what I'm trying to say? And also, they are independent, kind of. Like each cell has specific characteristics. That is, cells can go reproduce and respond to their environment. So here is a diagram, which is an onion cell, which you can see different cells here stacked up together, like kind of showing the building block of of the whole of the onion structure. So it's not just a single cell that you can see here. You can see multiple cells, multiple cells. So earlier in those days, the cell was discovered by some scientists, with the use of microscope, and it is from these images that they were able to see back in those days, that they were able to obtain that this cell that we are seeing, that we are talking about rather, are the building block of every living thing. So they've confirmed that from different categories of organisms, from those that are very simple to those that are very complex, from the simplest organism to the most complex organism. So it has been proven widely. So inside the cell, you see, is also called a microscopic word. So this is the structure of the cell that you can see here. You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is the structure of the cell that we can see here. So you can see the structure of the cell here and some bullet points here as regards some components. So you have the cytoplasm, you have the mitochondrion, you have the ribosome, you have the rough endoplasmic reticulum, plasma membrane, cell coats. So these are just some cell and cell organelles. So the cell has some smaller units inside it that are able to perform specific tasks or specific functions. So ribosome, for example, you know that to be sites for manufacture of proteins. So you should know that mitochondrion, which is the powerhouse of the cell, basically helping in producing energy, and the energy produced here is in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So that's through a series of processes, importantly oxidative phosphorylation and electron transport chain going on there. And the cytoplasm, which is just the fluid filled structure that's in it and are embedded all the other structures. We have the lysosome as well, which kind of help to engulf some unused substances and some worn out components of the cell. So the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So the endoplasmic reticulum normally is divided into two parts. You have the smooth part and you have the rough part. We call the rough simply because it has some ribosomes bounded to its surface. I mean, proteins, ribosomes bound to the surface rather. So as you've seen here, you see proteins attached to it. So it's kind of make it have that rough structure. So this is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. But for smooth, you don't see any ribosomes there. So it has nothing attached to it, right? As well, you have free ribosomes. Those ones that are suspended within the cytoplasm. You have free and you have bound ribosomes. So bound ribosomes, you found them on the rough endoplasmic reticulum, but for the free ones, you see them just floating inside the cytoplasm. So you should know that the cytoplasm has a fluid component which is called the cytosol, right? So you also have the centrioles as well, which are made up of microtubules. So the main function of the centriole is kind of to initiate cellular division or cell division rather. So I see someone want to join the session. Let me admit. Okay. So as I was saying earlier, so I'm kind of trying to explain each of the components of the cell and their specific task. So Golgi body or Golgi apparatus function in packaging, distribution of materials. Nuclear envelope, that's a surround. It's kind of surrounds the a surrounding of the nucleus in general. Nuclear pore, those are the tiny pores found on the surface of the nucleus. So kind of also in entrance and removal of substances from the nucleus there. So as well, you have okay. Sorry, let me continue okay. So as well, you have the chromatin. The chromatin are just the thin filaments that are eventually going to turn to nucleus. Going to turn to chromosome rather. The chromatin become the chromosomes when the cell wants to divide. Yes, condenses together to become the chromosome. And the nucleus, which is this structure that you see here. Nucleus, a darkly stained body that's help in the manufacture of ribosomes. So that's nucleus, and the nucleus, which is the whole structure here, which is the central part of the cell. The central part of the cell that houses the DNA containing the information about the cell, all the traits, whatever, everything, information about the cell, genetic information, everything that needs to be transferred from parent to offspring and all of that, all houses inside the nucleus. So you have a brief definitions of each of some of these components here. So nucleus, you see the control center, yes, houses the DNA, and is the master blueprint for all cellular activity. The mitochondria, that's the powerhouse, generates ATP energy through cellular respiration. Yes, so cellular respiration is very important for ATP generation. So ribosomes, which are protein builders, as you can see, able to translate genetic instructions into functional proteins. And cell membrane, as you can see, those are gatekeeper. Yes, cell membrane, that's the outer boundary of the cell. So it is selective. So you can see here, selectively controls what enters and exits the cell. So that's the gatekeeper. So what fuels these factories? So we mean what fuels the cell as a whole? What fuels it? So it's definitely nutrition. So the nutrients you take in is what supplies the cells the energy. Imagine you don't eat, you don't take in food into the body. So it implies that you're going to starve the cells, and they won't be able to perform their function effectively. So cells require a constant supply of energy and raw materials to function. Yes. So that supply comes directly from the food we eat, as you can see. Without proper nutrition, cells cannot repair. You won't be able to repair if they have been injured, maybe one cellular injury or something. So you need nutrients definitely to repair cells that has undergone injury. So growth as well, cells are able to grow. Yes. So which is why when someone is malnourished, so you kind of see a retarded growth in such person. So it's because the growth of the cell themselves have been kind of affected. Let me put it that way. So or perform their essential tasks, so they won't be able to perform tasks as well, and the entire organism does what? Suffers. So key insight to this is that nutrition is not just about feeling full. It is about delivering the precise chemical building blocks. Delivering the precise chemical building blocks, your trillions of cells need every single day. So meaning that you just is not about feeling full. You want to supply the cell what they actually need every single day for survival or for their functioning. So that is what that's trying to tell us there. So we're gonna talk about macronutrients. So nutrients actually can be divided into two based on the size of the molecules. Yes, we can put it that way. So you have the macronutrients and the micronutrients. So macronutrients, they are large macromolecules, or let me say large molecules. They are macromolecules, meaning that they are big, they are they are big sizes. So the big three, which is carbohydrates, that's carbs, proteins, which you can see as well here, and fat as well. So carbs, you see that they are the primary source of energy, and typically they are broken down into glucose. Glucose is the end product of the digestion of carbs, and they fuel every cell in the body, especially the brain and muscle cells. So this slide is very important. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So this particular point saying that especially brain and muscle cells. So this is to tell you that your brain is an organ that largely depends on glucose for its functioning. So if you are deficit, if you have a glucose deficit, for example, so it implies that you're going to have impaired brain function. So maybe and usually it kind of begins with headache. So imagine you haven't eaten breakfast at the right time. So it implies that if at first you've deprived the brain of getting its main energy supply, which is the glucose. So it begins with headache. So So which means that at times when you have headache, for example, the first thing you need to check is that have you had your like have you taken any food before the use of drugs. So if you haven't taken food, you should take that first and then relax yourself. So the headache is supposed to to go off. So proteins, which is built from amino acids. So proteins repair tissues, build enzymes, and support cell growth and also immune function. So all those things there, they are protein function. It's able to repair tissue, it's able to build enzymes because enzymes are also proteins, right? So it's also able to support cellular growth and as well immune functions. So fat as well, which is essential for energy storage, insulation, and forming the structural foundation of every cell membrane. You should know that every cell membrane is made up of fatty components. It's made up of fatty components. That's phospholipid. So cell membranes are made up of phospholipid, which is a kind of a bilayer having cholesterol in between, like kind of like a sandwich. Anyways, so micronutrients here, which are the tiny titans. So you have types of micronutrients here on this in this image here. So someone trying to join, let me see. Let me try to. Okay. Okay. So the micronutrients here. So you have water soluble vitamins. So divided into four on this slide. You have the water soluble vitamins, which are vitamin B's and vitamin C. But importantly here, vitamin B and C, water soluble vitamins. The fat soluble vitamins, that's vitamin A, D, E, K, ADEK. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. So you have the macro minerals, which are also important: calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, and also you have trace minerals, very very small quantity. Those are iron, zinc, copper, iodine, selenium, and you also have manganese there. So though they are needed in smaller amounts, as you can see on this slide, though needed in smaller amounts, micronutrients are indispensable. Meaning that although we take them in a very small quantity, they still perform very very important functions. So they act as cofactors. So they are important cofactors in thousands of chemical reactions that keep cells running smoothly. Being a cofactor in the sense that they are able to stimulate some reactions, like they kind of aid the process of catalyzing chemical processes to occur faster or at a very faster rate. Let me put it that way. So vitamin C builds collagen, important for collagen, so C for C there. And B vitamins drive energy metabolism, and vitamin D regulates calcium absorption. So minerals: calcium strengthens bones, iron supports oxygen in blood, and zinc supports immune cell function. So the cell's energy crisis, so in a state of malnutrition. So you can see a healthy cell here, and you can see the malnourished cell here. So here, well nourished, vibrant, full of energy. So you can see there's no distortion here. But when you see a malnourished cell, you can see that the cell membrane is even distorted already. So you can see damaged membrane, and the cellular organelles are not really able to perform task effectively. So there is sluggish membrane. That means energy production will be little, and also there is impaired functions. And if the malnourishment should be too prolonged, it can result to the cell damage as a whole. So when cells lack essential nutrients, their functions break down, with consequences for the entire body. So you see that there. And energy deficiency definitely results to fatigue, weakness, and reduced cognitive performance as cells run on empty. So that is very important. So you people that you take your meal at a very late hour, you should stop that. Try to eat on time. Take your breakfast at the right time, your lunch as well at the right time, and your dinner at the right time as well. So don't skip your meals. So there will also be building block shortage. So there's impaired growth, slow wound healing if you sustain an injury. So, and also weakened immune response. So which means that if you are malnourished, your immune system will not be able to fight against those foreign bodies effectively. So you can easily come down with a disease or infection or whatever. So you understand what I'm trying to say. So the power of a balanced diet. Yes, balanced diet is also one of the things that we need to discuss as far as nutrition is concerned. So talking about balanced diet, that's a diet that consists all these classes of food in the right proportion. So a diverse diet ensures cells receive every component they need. So it's not that you want to eat now and then you eat a bowl full of eba, and then you take one small soup, and then you think you've eaten. That's not a good food. So when you want to eat, you kind of mix things together, mix this with this, mix this with that, so that at the end of the day, your meal is gonna be a balanced diet, meaning that it contains all the essential things that that needs to be there. So no single food does all. Yes, as I've said, and variety is the key to cellular health. So you mix things together. So as you can see here in the image, you can see how things are being mixed together, and we can say, or we are safe to say that this meal should be a well balanced diet. Yes, and also by the side you can also see some other components there, very important. So vitamin A is critical for retinal cells. That's for vision. So deficiency, for example, deficiency for that's if you are not taking, or if you lack enough vitamin A, so it's going to lead to deficiency. Deficiency of that can impair night vision, so you'll be able to see properly at night. So that is that. Xerophthalmia there. Yes. Brain cells. Also, yes, omega 3 fatty acids form the structural backbone of neuronal cell membranes. So imagine you are not taking components that has this omega 3 fatty acids, especially something like fish. I think fish is kind of, yeah, it's kind of contain this omega 3 fatty acids well. So it's very like functional or very effective if you want to improve brain functioning also. Yes. So omega 3 fatty acid, it's very important for your brain cells. And also proper nutrition is able to support continuous cellular repair and replacement throughout the body, so for cell regeneration. So this is a kind of the journey of cell to becoming the whole organism. uh, as I said earlier, cell is the simplest structure in the human body. So healthy cell become healthy tissue. So from cell to tissue, that's organization of life. From cells to tissues, then tissues, group of tissues become organs, and each organ or individual organs, that's liver, kidney, the heart, the skin, the whatever, everything all together then becomes the organism. So that is, it has hierarchy. It is an hierarchy of life, or organization of life. So healthy cells don't work in isolation, as you can see here on this slide. So they combine to form tissues, and tissues to organs, and then to systems. So the well-being of the entire organism is a direct reflection of its cellular health. So when you have any derangement, like when you have any factor affecting any of these components here, then you should know that the whole of the organism as a whole will be affected. So the organism as a whole will be affected. Uh okay. So nourishing your cells is equivalent to nourishing your life. So every bite you take uh, fuels the incredible machinery of your cells. So when you eat well, you're able to supply your cells enough energy that will be able to make them perform well. So you should make conscious choices of what you eat. So invest in your health, one cell at a time. So eat varieties. So diverse foods will give you obviously diverse nutrients for every cell type. And also stay hydrated, take enough water. Water is also essential for every cellular chemical function. So the long-term goal will be that consistent nutrition builds lasting cellular and organism health. So I think with a few points of this, we've been able to complete that slide. Any questions so far regarding the slide?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's get to the notes. This is 906. Let me open my notes there. So I sent what's that here? I sent a question, or some questions rather, to our platform. How many of you attempted that question that I sent to the group? How many? Can we hear me?
Yes, sir.